Hi there. Happy New Year, everyone. This is the 5th, so it's Friday the 5th of January in the new year. I'm back in Warsaw, and I have my voice a little bit, so you can hear me. I'm post-COVID. My wife is still kind of suffering with a little bit of, she's still fluey, a little, not fluid per se, but more like having cough still, her lingering cough. Uh, and I'm back in my office, office, and we're back at the new year. So, hi there, everyone. Well, Happy New Year! Hurrah! We're back to this. Um, I'm going to. I really don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start my Aristotle. We do Aristotle. We'll probably do a couple Aristotle ethics thing as I promised. I have no recordings done. I was for Christmas. I was a prisoner with my family at my mother-in-law's house and really couldn't do work. And I was kind of like recovering from this bug and not really alive. This is the monthly live stream. I'm doing the monthly live stream at the beginning of the month, not the second week. I decided to do this. I decided to get a jump on it. I'm back before I said I'd be back a little bit because I said next week I start doing it. I have to do the recordings. I'm going to be kind of a busy boy on this weekend. I think even though I have my week, we're going to be returning to our the reading group I belong to, the online reading group I belong to, will restart for Christmas break. And returning to book 3 of Plato's Laws. So yay, returning the laws. But I should spending time. I just today spent my day really grading. My wife's mad at me. I need to make. I have to really go to Amazon and kind of like beg Amazon to give me download all the Amazon crap. It's like I want to cry because it's just giving them documentation of all of my books that I ordered for the past 4 years is kind of like impossible. Amazon should be nice. They should be able to, they have their own database. They should be able to say, you ask me, hey, could you just give me a list of all the books I ordered for that, that many years? It's like they should have a record of it. They have the record of it. They have copies of invoices and things like that. It is just, I have a headache. My wife's mad at me that I'm not doing it. It is painful work. I just don't have the patience to go through because it's basically downloading hundreds and hundreds of files for no bloody purpose. You don't necessarily have to have the documentation of this. I'm just frustrated about that university bullshit. I'm not happy about that. The rage of the woke. In the middle of the month, the 17th, I have to go to a conference about woke ideology for a Polish think tank that's going to be exterminated by the new Polish government. So it's going to be kind of an interesting. So, okay, that's there. What else? My Christmas present. Well, the big Christmas present is okay. They're over there. The Mary Nichols book in hardback. I should post. I hope they come out paperback. The so-called Aristotle's Discovery of the Human, which came out a month or so ago, a couple months ago. I think it came out this fall. I finally got it for Christmas present. Yay! It's basically on Aristotle's ethics, so it should be interesting for people who is following us and when we do the ethics. The other thing I got was a copy of the Oxford in a discussion over Christmas with a friend of mine who teaches at Hillsdale. He talked about he preferred the Oxford critical classical text. Not the classical text, the Oxford, what do you call it? World Books edition of the politics. And it was kind of bothering me because I thought that the old Barker was Oxford. Well, this is the revised Barker. And okay, I understand why. I I can understand why he likes it. It is the Barker. People like the Barker. I have issues with the Barker in the sense that it overstates the gentleman. It overreads the gentleman in that sense. It's kind of old-fashioned, but the text, R.F. Stavely's revision of Ernest Barker's edition is interesting. He kind of redoes and fixes the places where Barker did paraphrases rather than translations and reordered things and restructured it. He kind of undid that and refixed it. So it is, and where the text was dated in translation and there's been changes of things, he altered the translation and modernized. And in fact, some passages in book 4 and 5, he kind of really did do translation. So I was actually very, I can see why my friend likes it over the Lord. The Lord always is a pain in the ass from the point of view because it's more Greek. It is not. It's students have. It is not it's English. It's a good translation. It's a good literal translation, but it follows the logic of the Greek and not necessarily the readable English. It's really not really the perfect translate. I mean, that's the problem. Would I require undergraduates to do it? I would, simply because. But I understand why. A typical undergraduate who's not really the typical American undergrad is going to hate it. I understand that. Okay. Because, not a foreign, this is the problem with foreign students too. They don't like it. They don't want to read. They don't want to read anything. And you're making them read a text, and then therefore it's the same thing with the problem with the De Alvarez translation in Poland. A lot of students don't like the De Alvarez translation of Machiavelli's Prince here because of it's very difficult to, because he follows the grammar of the Italian, so he leaves the ambiguity and the awkwardness that's in the Italian. He leaves it alone, and I think this is also true, a little true too, about Lord's translation of the politics, where he. But this is where I think there's a difference. Lord sometimes will interpret in his translation, give an interpretation, and not leave the ambiguity in. Okay, I think that's the difference between De Alvarez's translation of the Prince and also the translation of Machiavelli's Discourses, which is not available yet, published yet. I hope it will be. I hope his son will publish it eventually. Because he blocked. He didn't want to do it. He kind of chickened up. No, he just is too paranoid about this for some reason. It's like, I don't understand why he didn't do it. He has this kind of self-sabotage about publication. But again, so therefore the Savely edition of the Ernst Bacher's Politics was out, and it's there. So yay, hurrah, hurrah. And that was one of the things I got, I think I had an earlier version of it, but we were talking about it, and I didn't remember having it, so I kind of ordered it. I got it for Christmas present. It was like very quickly on Christmas present. It came like, the day after Christmas. So, and the day after 2 days. It was Monday was it Christmas Eve was Sunday, and Monday was Christmas Day, and everything's closed, and Tuesday was closed also. Wednesday, so everything came Wednesday. So surprise, Wednesday. Okay, that was a thing. Like I said, one of the books I got was that I brought with me was the Neil Hall book. The Fourth Turning is Here. I read that over Christmas. It was a very interesting book. It is still Hall's, Neil Hall's work on where he deals with the question of the fourth turning and as now, and the projection of it, and it's a very interesting book in that sense. It expands on the book, A Fourth Turning, that he wrote at the end of the 90s, which everyone uses. Everyone's Bannon and many of the commentators. Steve Bannon refers to it, and a lot of the other people that refer to it and deal with these themes of generational things. You've heard my points about this by other people, and I'm not going to talk about it again here today. What is the other thing? The thing that came today, I didn't get to read it. I'm not going to read it. Start reading it. I think is a book called "Defending Socrates" by one of the very active thinkery participants in Twitter space. I forget his first name. It's Alu. It's Pio. His new book on defending Socrates is kind of like that, which is out. I'm told that I know his name. I'm gonna be getting angry at myself for blanking on the name like I'm doing now. It's like Templar, Tempeter. He's very prolific in the sense of my old friend Peter Berlola, who's edit a lot of books, and Lee does this as well. Edits like tons of books. He's the editor at Roman Littlefield Lexington's about literature and politics theme area. Lee Trapper. Okay, it's gonna drive me crazy. I know it. And he was editor at Vogel and View at long time. Now I think someone else is taking over that. He has his new book out on the Socratic method, teaching with the Socratic method. That's out by that's available through Routledge, and I haven't gotten it. I'm going to probably see if I can get it and look at it. But it's out. I saw his advertisement of it. I saw his posting of it, and I think that would be an interesting book. The other thing that for Christmas that I have, it's not much. I got the OCT, the Oxford Classical Text is over there. I'm not going to go get it. I'm going to get up and go over there. The OCT, Eudinian Ethics that I've been on for a year. It finally was released over December, just before, and it's even saying it's predicted 2024. I'm disappointed. They did not put the book, the common books in it, in this Eudinian Ethics. I bought this thinking that they were finally going to put, because the other older edition of the EE did not have the thing there as well, and therefore I was hoping that people saying, "Oh, they were addressing the question." I mean, one of the big things in Aristotle scholarship has been for the past 10, 15 years, this idea that, traditionally the idea was that the common books, which is book 4, 5, 6, and 7, in the Corinthian Ethics, and I think it's the 3 books that are shared between them. I think it's 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, and 6 in the EE. I'm doing it from memory. I just know there's a good translation out of the EE by. This is what I don't like. I mean, this is the problem. This is the EE by C.D. Reeves, and of course, he has there of this. He says that. It's book, was it book 4 equals Nicomachean Ethics 5, book 5 is Nicomachean Ethics 6, and book 6 is number 7. So it's like one book to 6 there. They have it in here, so therefore this is an interesting aspect. So Reeves has a good translation of the EE that's been distributed, but then also my buddy Peter Simpson has one. I think it was done by published by the publisher that he had, not Transaction, but Transaction or something like that. I have it. So it's hiding over here. It's an expensive, very expensive book in that sense. I remember He also did it with the Virtues and Vices as well. It's a very interesting translations he does. Peter did for those that, and Peter has been doing a series of articles showing that the common books in the EE are not. I mean, they differ. There's significant, but minor but significant textual differences between these common books in the EE versus the NE. And as the scholarship seems to be saying, is that maybe it was the idea is that it was for the NE, Nicomachean Ethics, and the AE borrowed it. Rather, it may be the opposite, that it might have been originally written for the Eudemian Ethics, and then were later shared with the Nicomachean Ethics. This is something that's addressed in the Rowe edition editing of Christopher Rowe's edition of the Oxford Critical Text. But for some reason, they didn't redo the Greek. The argument was that the editors were the Oxford Critical Text. We're not going to release something that there's already clearly available in the OCT, Nicomachean Ethics. I think that's an unfair thing. I think I think the scholarship by both Peter Simpson and others makes clear arguments that the text of the EE, those common texts, are significant. There are differences there, and the critical edition should have put them in the OCT, and I think this is a scandal at the OCT that they said, "Oh, this is for cheap," not do that. I think that is a good, financial, stewardship of the OCT money. I think that is a cop out, and that the OCT took forever to come out with the new edition. That, my God, that. Why come out if you're not going to put the edition and put the Greek text in? So I mean, it's like I felt let down when I got the OCT about that. That was one of the big things of the letdown of Christmas in that sense. What else? The other letdowns of things. There's not much in there. I have my. There's not much else. The new books I want to talk about. That's of there in that sense. Is there anything I really want to talk about today? Not really. I mean, hear me in that sense. I'm alive. My friend Dan Mahoney at American Mind has this second essay on colonialism and the post-colonialist thing. I think that is worth paying attention to. Dan has a wonderful new. He's going to come up with I think it's where he said, I want to get it right. Well, Dan has a new book coming out in 2025 by Encounter. The Persistence of the Ideological Lie, it's called. I think this is going to be dealing with all the wokeism and ideology of that stuff. It's going to be, I think it will continue on this theme of responding to the progressive left and the progressive radical left's ideological reframing of reality, which is across the board: transgender nonsense, transgender, gender, race, critical legal thinking, critical race theory. Social justice constructions, all this is part of this ideological reframing of the reshaping of consciousness that is a key, I think, in that sense. And I think he's going to start attacking it in the essay. In that sense, I think something I share, and this is something I'm going to be talking about in the middle for that conference coming in the middle of January, well, more 17th of January. Where I'm going to talk about woke. I'm talking about the mind virus, the progressive ideological mind virus that is wokeness or progressive leftism. And how I'm going to call it, the American disease, because it was primarily spread through the American universities to the world. And the Cold War, yes, the victory of the Cold War of the Allied West over that spread this mental illness through the universities to the world, and things like maybe Fulbright should be destroyed. The American Fulbright Foundation should be destroyed. We should stop these U.S. We should stop all aid, given that it's contagion. It's spreading ideology and stupidity and moronic ideas through the world. Let's stop it. American government should stop it. Just simply stop it. We should stop all aid fellowship programs and things like this, because it's doing more. It's harming American interests. It's allowing the American universities to spread their mental illness to the rest of the world. And I think this is what actually helped create radical Islam. The progressive left of the American progressive liberals of the 1950s and 60s were the people who ultimately shaped the Islamic thinkers. If you look at the story of the Egyptian leftist Sedib, and the father of the Islamic Brotherhood, he went and they didn't send him to if they sent him to an American Southern school in the American South, a Christian college or something like that, they sent him to a California school where he saw men and women dancing. Oh, imagine if he sent him to a conservative school. He would have said, "Oh God, this is great." In other words, this is the irony about this: that the progressive liberals who brought these people saying, "Oh, we're going to protect them from American conservatism and American Christianity because they're racist and like this, and we're going to put them with the liberals who think you stupid dumb person needs to be enlightened." Liberal racism. The liberals are ultimately the real racists out there. They are the real fundamental racists, always were, because they really think that most of the developing world need help, and people from those places are simply just not able to compete and need to be helped on this. And I think this is the problem here. And the resentment of they create the monsters of the radical left. Just think of this. Remember, the Ayatollah Khomeini was shaped in France, 68, the France of the radical progressive student movements of the 60s. So, think how not Ho Chi Minh, but Pol Pot was shaped by the French theorists of Jean-Paul Sartre and the French existentialist left that he studied in France. In other words, the monsters of the left were shaped by the European progressives and we have to remember that the American progressive is this weird mixture of America. The early American liberalism, which was shaped by kind of elite progressivism of the late 19th century, with this idea that they wanted to have it is an elite progressivism that believes itself to be this old Protestant WASP elite, to be the benighted elite that's going to help develop the rest of the world. Now they abandoned the kind of Anglo-Saxon Victorian white man's burden stuff, but that's still there. But it's now, instead of it's still there, but rather it's a kind of now masquerading as a social leftism, a progressivism and development of these institutions, and that these white elites, these white power elites, then all of a sudden promoted minorities who echoed or promoted their ideas, and promoted the ones who reflected their ideas, and punished those who did not. Okay. And that's why did come on, the whole Chicago Claudine Gay thing. Come on, look at the person running the Harvard Corporation, Pitzer, the daughter of Hyatt chain. Okay. Is this pizza woman at all an entrepreneur, a businessman? She's a billionaire, a child, but she inherited because her ancestors, the great inventors and innovators of, not inventors, but basically created the Hyatt chain and successfully created it and built it. Okay. It's like the Hiltons. This is the problem with the old wealth. The old wealth, after one generation, two generations, you get these kind of people who just been given their wealth. The children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren were just given billions of dollars, and they feel guilty. So how do they feel guilty? They feel guilty because they know they're morons. And pizza is a benighted moron. She's a rich, benighted moron who got all her education because of her family wealth. So she feels guilty. This is the right liberal guilt. This is where right liberal guilt comes from. These wealthy millionaires and billionaires and their children's. Their ancestors worked and hard and made themselves rich. But they don't do anything. They sit on boards and they just get there and they just feel guilty. And what they then do is they would reflectively adapt this progressive leftist ideas and just repeat it and think, ooh, this is enlightened. This is smart. Where in reality, it's just they're morons. They're just idiot morons. Let's have the revolution. Let's take their money away from them. They don't deserve their money. They're morons. The sooner they separated the money, the world would be better off. Maybe we should tax at 1,000% all the assets of these second generation, third generation billionaires. Okay, give them enough money they can live comfortably, but rip the powers off them. Deny them institutions. Don't allow them to be on boards. They should be banned from boards of things. I don't mind them donating money to schools. That's not. They can donate all the money. But the problem with that is the problem is once they get to give their ideas to the things. And they're morons. They should be asked to say, okay, no, what are your ideas? I want to think of gender identity and transgender nonsense. No, nuke it. Shut the people. Don't allow idiots. I mean, this white idiot promoted a black idiot and promoted her because she was a black idiot. I mean, the story of Claudine Gray at Harvard was that she destroyed a very outstanding economist who dealt with a black economist, destroyed his career by targeting him because he didn't stay on the liberal plantation. The host, Edward, I can't remember his name. It's gonna drive me crazy. Bates, you're getting old. You don't remember names. What is it? Roland Fryer. Roland Fryer is an African-American man who gave a great example. He got tenure at Harvard Economics at a very young age. MacArthur Grant, he created a lab dealing with education of African-American people at social science research, produced findings about youth education. He produced lots of research on African-American situations, on social and economic circumstances that really are outstanding work. And then he showed out that he basically showed that as a black scholar, he showed the nonsense of systemic racism. He said that if you look at the economic and social and economic circumstances make a difference between groups. But if one corrects for these, there is no measure outcome that can be traced to systemic racism, he says. And that's very asserting. And therefore, he doesn't believe in inherent racial differences either. This is where some people on the right who do believe in this don't disagree with him. So therefore, there is this. He's not a man of the right, and he shares the same idea, inherent racial differences, either with Thomas Sowell. Again, both Sowell and Fryer. I mean, Fryer's a younger man. He grew up from basically a single dad, a deadbeat drunk whose grandma raised her. Like, I think this is something similar, not as bad as, you know, Thomas Sowell. I think Sowell had a more stable family in that sense. But again, Sowell grew up in the 1930s, right? Roland Fryer grew up in the 1980s, 1990s, right? And they created a Me Too nonsense. They used him because he was the guy who showed that the whole BLM argument about police shooting black people was simply just not at all verifiable from the data. So this is what's so interesting about someone like Fryer, who Claudine Gay and another African American person fucked over for that. He can't, still to this very day, is not allowed to teach undergraduate courses. Roland Fryer is a perfect example of, I mean, this is, Claudine Gay deserves to be a plagiarist, a systematic, mediocre child of black privilege of the upper elite in a very wealthy family, okay, a black elite, black establishment. She went to all the top schools. She didn't earn her way in it. She was there because Mommy and Papi are part of the system. They are elites in the system and in the American political system. Not a black elite, stable family, stable structure, not broken family, not from the working, not from the affected black lower classes. Where Fryer was from that. Okay, so therefore, if you look at Fryer, urban city black from Florida, okay, and moved up and found himself a student troublemaker in high school, who could have dropped out. Who after sports kind of got him into university, and then finding economics. University discovered him and made him interested in economics, and economics got him to grad school and outstanding work that he earned a MacArthur grant. Okay, this is outstanding grant. Okay, he merit, brilliance, honesty, integrity of scholarship. Like Sowell started out on the left, but as the facts showed that, in other words, truth and driven by the data, driven by the information, drove his ideas. Policy driven by facts, not driven by cockamamie belief systems. And therefore changing your facts to suit your beliefs. I think this is a very outstanding, let's see how he was destroyed. And 2 years of without pay, not allowed, shut down his his research center, only allowing him to study graduate students, no longer having access to undergraduates. This is. And Claudine Gay's knife was in his career. I mean, if I was someone like advising Ron DeSantis, I'd invite him to create a whole program at University of Florida, saying, "Hey, we'll give you a full professorship. We'll create your research center about African American and urban youth. We'll come create the big center at U Florida. Do it." And if I was a governor of Texas, a conservative state, who wanted to bring someone like a scholar like this to save him from the university, help him create a big foundation grant. We should treat Harvard and the Ivies as the pieces of piling crap they are. Destroy them. Deny them money. Deny them research grant. Destroy their reputations. Nuke them, make them out to be nothing but the old establishment elite schools that were just regional, what they were 100 years ago, regional prep schools for the local elites. Make them out to be the local prep schools, the morons who can't get else. that only the children of the idiots and the adult, and no one should hire them. Oxford, you want to go to the, oh no no, we're gonna treat Ivy Leagues as pariah. You want to get a job at a court. In other words, look how many of the court judges. No more. There should be never a fucking federal judge who has a Harvard or Ivy degree anymore. A Harvard degree means you're a moron. You didn't learn anything, because it's so difficult to get in there. Selection is such high. People want to go to high demand, so many slots. Therefore, getting in there is like winning lottery. No. Let's make it a negative pariah. Harvard means no one is going to hire you. Banned. We don't want morons. And they should start taking, and people who've gotten degrees from there should be, asked be forced to take evaluations of their knowledge of stuff, and if they have knowledge, okay. You have to ask the people I respect are Harvard people, like James Hankins, who I really respect as a scholar. He shouldn't waste his time at Harvard. He should get the fuck out, goes to a good school, build new schools, go to UTexas. Help build the UTexas program up. Help build us, I know the Georgia. I know Georgia tried doing things in the past, but it kind of stalled. Conservative legislators need to start making the state schools go into the state universities and start purging the leftists. Start just hiring conservative faculty with reputations and scholarship. There's lots of them around the world, fucking United States and the world, that have good reputations, who'd love to go to a conservative school. We have Hillsdale. There's so many. Hillsdale's not a real Hillsdale. That Hillsdale making a doctoral program is kind of laughable. It's a liberal arts college. Should always be a liberal arts college. The problem is that the fact that the Michigan system and other things are so fucking controlled by the left, and conservatives are kind of you have no chance. Why am I fucking in Poland? I spent over 20-something years in exile. Okay, I'm not necessarily a superstar, but I should have been able to get at a state school, a job at a state place, or not published enough. No, I'm not leftist enough. You have dyslexia. Yeah, I have dyslexia. So what? I have a lot of things I can work with, but trust me, I'm not producing nonsense as these idiots are producing nonsense. Oh, but you don't do it. Really? And the disease spreads. The disease spreads. It's over now in Europe, and it's being propagated in Poland. The new government is going to double down on this, the PO coalition. The PO types are just like the damn Republicans in the 80s and 90s. Progressivism, this woke ideology, all this stuff about that. It doesn't really matter. Let the universities, let the leftists have the universities. They're not going to do any harm. Boy, that didn't work out well. Look what happened. The universities shape the leaders. The universities are the place where the future leader. Oh, but reality is going to shape their notion. No, if you fuck their minds up, and their minds have been so fucked, that then the damage to their minds, all these people's minds have been so destroyed and so reshaped that they don't understand reality anymore. They think, oh, reality is not nice, it's not just, therefore I have to change it. So they have jobs, they graduate, and they have all these nonsense ideas in their head, and they now go into jobs of managers and things like this. They get hired at, not only that, you hire the activists, they hire the activists to run human resources and bring things like social justice economies of ESG and DEI and other nonsense that have basically ruined American corporations. Bud Light, and you just name me but this is like the future because we're targeting millennials and most people who are going to want to drink. We have to take Blood Light and open it up to a new generation who are not necessarily open. Therefore, we have to, blah, blah, blah. And what happens? Okay, you screw the pooch. And this is what you have. What's wrong with you've had 30 years of these people shaping the mindset of the university. So this is a rant. Okay, this is my Friday rant. It's just silly in that sense. It's silly in that sense. So I'm going to stop here. I'm at my 40-minute mark. I could do more, but man, I want to say again, wish you all a happy New Year, happy 2024. We will start Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics on Monday. I hope to get some things done on Monday, like to post things. I will hope I get some recordings done this weekend. I need these 4 or 5 recordings done this weekend, but we'll see what happens. Okay, well, take care. If you like it, like button. I know there's not many people here today. They didn't come. I didn't tell people I'm going to be here, so they'll see this. I'll be surprised. If you like it. If you didn't like it, you're just a right-wing fascist who just is closed-minded. Well, like and say what the problem was. If you're not subscribe. I noticed that we lost somebody because of the break. I thought I hit the 470 mark, and then I noticed after New Year 469. Someone went away. I didn't have a live stream and didn't make videos this couple of weeks. Okay, whatever. Maybe someone who died, or someone left YouTube and their subscription ended. Who knows? So have a good one in that sense. You can follow me on social media, links below. You can follow me on academic social media, the links below those. And you can help me do what I do through Subscribe Star, Patreon. You can do the links for below, or you can buy one of my books. That's the other thing you can do. Again, we will start Aristotle's Ethics. So see you later. Bye bye. Have a good one. Take care.